1970s, the chapels of the South Wales valleys were starting to fall silent. But these industrial communities were about to discover a new voice and Welsh music, a new icon. It happened somewhere that couldn't have been more modest or better suited to his talent and vision.
As soon as I came in this evening, the secretary came up and he said, Max, let me show you around the club, see where you are performing in. I went round, he showed me all around, he said, what do you think of it? I said, it'd be nice when it's finished.
Recorded in 1973, Live at Treorchy was the album that set Max Boyce on his road to musical stardom.
Max Boyce!
Soon he was topping the charts, selling out the Albert Hall and Sydney Opera House, and being watched on TV by over a third of the British population. For all the international fame, though, he was a man who sang of his times and his community.
One afternoon from a council school, a boy came home to play. With pain.
Born into a mining family in Glenneath, as he nears the age of 80, he still lives here.
Well, it's a typical mining valley, a typical mining village. There were, 7 collieries within 2 miles of where we are sat now, and of course there are none now. I was born and bred here, and through necessity, I had to go and work underground at 15 years. I didn't want to go. My mother certainly didn't want me to work underground because my father had been killed underground a month before I was born. So it was the last thing she wanted, but it was the only work to be had, and I had to go and earn some money. So that had a terrific impact on my life, and probably still has.
As a Welsh-speaking child, Max Boyce was steeped in the musical culture of Eisteddfodau, chapels and choirs. But as he grew older, it was a different kind of music that began to appeal to him.
I'd always loved folk music, and it was a big protest era at the time, late 60s, in America and in Wales.
A lot of the protest songs in Wales in the 60s came out of the Welsh language music scene, which you were a part of.
Yes, because the singer-songwriters of the time were, as you say, they were in the Welsh language. Max Stevens, David Iwan, all these people. And the Welsh scene at the time was very folky and very influential and quite brilliant, actually. And there was a huge melting pot for Welsh music via programs like Disco Down, which I did in those early days. Yeah, but that was part of the folk song movement that was much bigger than just in Wales.
Max Boyce's big break didn't happen on television, though, but at a live concert in a rugby club. In it, he combined the poignancy of folk music with a very Welsh brand of humour and belonging.
Went up to the Highlands of Scotland.
Live in Treorchy was an enormous breakthrough, but it almost didn't happen.
I completely new one. I mean, the band were just brought together that afternoon. Some I'd never met before. And I know it sounds daft, but they had to find a brick to under the piano. It was never meant to be the success that it was. It was just an experiment, really. But what was remarkable about it, it was one take. We started recording at the start and finished, and nothing changed. And that's what makes the album, the fact they're hearing those songs for the first time, that natural reaction.
Up the back, it's like Treorchy male voice. Down the front, it's like Treorchy pop.
Live at Treorchy sold over 750,000 copies and launched Max Boyce as a major star. His Valley's humour found an eager audience in Britain and beyond, and his TV shows were the most watched of their day. Over time, some felt he risked becoming a pantomime Welshman, a parody of the singer he once was. But beneath the clowning, Max Boyce crafted lyrical songs about people without a voice. The valleys communities of deindustrialising South Wales.
In our little valley, they closed the colliery down.
A song like "Dew It's Hard," that could only have come from the Welsh valleys, couldn't it?
What makes it is that line, "Do It's Hard," and no one thought of a shed or anything or putting a Welsh word in it, but that's what makes it ring. People said, "Oh no, what is that?" I says, "God." Well, say God. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. You can't change that.
'Cause it's hard. Do it's hard.
That use of the odd Welsh word here and there gives it a life of its own. I've always tried to both edges of tragedy and happiness. If it tends to be too dreary, people just shut off. But if we do a little bit of humour into it with sensitivity, then it can be really effective.
But the pitted bars is a supermarket now.
If mining gave Max Boyce his tragic note, then his gladdest voice was reserved for rugby. His heyday as an entertainer coincided with a golden age for the game in Wales, the era of JPR Williams, Barry John and Gareth Edwards. Times have changed, but one of Max Boyce's songs has become a staple of rugby and football games in Wales. When you hear the thousands of people singing your song, hymns and arias in the stadiums, how does that make you feel?
To hear your song being sung at somewhere like Cardiff Arms Park is something no one can give you that. No producer, no director, no money can give you that. It has to be a song that the people adopt, and for some reason, whatever reason it was, they adopted that song, and it's still, it still gives me a huge thrill. Like the last time we won the Grand Slam, to hear it sung, as someone said, deliciously around the stadium continually, because we'd won that game with 20 minutes to go, and hear it continually sung was it's something it doesn't. I remember in the Daily Mail when it was first sung, it said that Cwm Rhondda and Calan Lan has found a companion. That's just a nice way of putting it.
Well, that's it for